Today we have a quick one for you. I know what you're thinking. Oh man, it's not gonna be,
Two hours?
Don't worry. It's a part 1 of 1. You'll be happy about that. What do we have, Fernando?
We have a Dodge Challenger.
His favorite car, by the way. So if anybody would like to donate a Dodge Challenger in the name of Fernando Lopez, go right ahead.
I'll take it. I'll take it. I will hug you.
You might get it for that. This car is in today for the simple reason of that it doesn't sound that good. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, how is that even possible?
Correct.
Let me explain why it doesn't sound that good, and then we'll explain what we're gonna do to fix it. This is what you would call a budget build, meaning that there was this amount of money to accomplish a set goal, and that set goal was
bass.
And what happens when you add bass? Immediately everything else just gets quieter because the subwoofer is overwhelming. You have a set of kicker comp 10s, clearly a ton of crap in the trunk. We won't talk about that. And because of that, now the system is just kind of lackluster. He thought it was good. He was like, oh man, now it's, We have to find sometimes a inexpensive fix to get us back into the happy side of the customer. It's not always easy. Fortunately, in this car, it's a simple enough solution to get us a much better sound, but still keep us within that comp budget, and that is going to be these. The Kenwood Exelon KFC X3C high-end 3.5-inch coaxial speakers. Now I know what you're thinking. Wait a minute, you said high-end. It's an Exelon, which is Kenwood's high-end. Well, they're 3.5, so they're not super expensive because it is a smaller driver. The other thing too is if you'll notice right here, it says made for Toyota, Dodge, and Chrysler. So these are a perfect fit to go up into the dash location on this car. We'll show you what the factory speaker looks like in a minute, but let's take a look at these. Inside the box, you get 2 passive crossovers if needed. Not every installation is going to need these. And then you get 2 of the 3.5-inch drivers. What makes this speaker a custom fit for this car, it's a 2-hole 3.5 with very narrow basket. So as you can see, there's almost no trim around this. The surround goes pretty much to the edge of the driver here. The other thing is, when you look at it from the side, if you'll notice, this tweeter doesn't protrude very much. It's tucked in here extremely far. And it's like that because in the case of this car, and a lot of them like that, what you have in the top is a middler or just a mid-range. It's flush. There's nothing protruding out of it. So that factory grille comes and sits over the top of it. And if this is sticking out, it might not go on. They had to design the speaker with the tweeter mounted super in. The tweeter is a silk soft dome. The cone is made of some form of a mica. The surround is beautiful. It's up in the dash. It can take that heat on it and it's not going to fall apart. The magnet on the back is a pretty decent sized magnet when you consider this is 3.5 inches across. The other thing too is that this is a biampable ready speaker. For those of you who don't know what that means, is that if you had a 4-channel amp and you would like to go active on the tweeter and active on the mid-range as far as your external crossover points and power, you could do that with this speaker by unsoldering your 2 tweeter wires here or snipping them and connecting your amplifiers channel 1 and 2 to the tweeter and channel 4 to the mid-range. For this installation, of course, we're not going to be doing that. We're going to be connecting them up to the factory system, which is just a standard 2-channel input. Let's hop into the car, get the dash apart, and grab that factory speaker and compare the two. When working on this car, it does help to have a friend, and the reason for that is this piece going across the front is one long piece now. On previous versions, it was nice because this corner popped off and that corner, it doesn't do that anymore. One long piece going all the way across. To start with, we need to remove the side covers here, then move to the A-pillars, then we can move to popping the dash off.
This panel has 5 clips to hold it in place.
When you get the A-pillar pulled back, you'll notice this nightmare of a connector here. There's a push tab located right here that you have to push down, and then it will slide out from the top. Be very careful not to break this connector. The reason the connector is like this because of the airbags. It's designed to deploy, but hold this from coming off and smacking you in the face. all along the edge of this dash are going to be clips. And then across the back side of the dash, there's going to be like sleeves. So you pop it up and you pull it forward. As you can see, it comes all the way over here to the side, like this. And this is where it gets tricky because you have to kind of like snake this out. And these corners want to dig into the dash. So stick your panel tool in there to protect the dash and let this ride up on top of it because you got to get these out. Got it? Mm-hmm. Go all the way over to the passenger or driver's side and just kind of like turn it like you saw there and have it go out. The speaker is held in place by those two screws, just like the aftermarket that we had. It's a 7mm or a Phillips. To get it out, we like to use a screwdriver that has a right angle-ish to it. Put your hand on top of the screwdriver when using it so that it doesn't accidentally tap the glass. You don't want to shatter the windshield trying to get out a 3.5. There's enough wire on it to pull the dash out. Put your hand underneath it. Rest that magnet on top of your hand or put a cloth there. And you will need a screwdriver to poke in that little tiny clip. And this is a speaker. Let's go take a look at it. What we have here is a cloth that goes over the top. This is so when you're looking in through the top, you can't see or judge what size speaker it is. But there's no tweeter inside of it. There's no whizzer cone or anything like that. It's just a mid-range. Turn it on its side, you can see how small the basket is along with the magnet. This is an 8-ohm 15-watt speaker. It's a treated paper cone. These will fade and dry rot. The surround is also made out of cloth, not butyl. When we compare the two together, we'll just simply set the new speaker on top. The holes line up perfect. Size-wise, you can see how much bigger that 3.5 is to this. This is that side profile that I was talking about. This tweeter really doesn't come up all that much, and the speaker isn't that deep. It's pretty much the same depth as the factory. Magnet-wise, huge difference. These will work with amplifier or without. This, as you'll notice, also has a foam layer on the back. This one does not. That means we will be adding foam to it. To wire these into the car, we're going to shorten this up. This is rather long. We don't need this much wire. This is going to be what goes in. Inside the car we have the female versions of these bullet connectors. That means we'll plug these in, reattach it. This will be our removing point, not here at the speaker. The next step is to figure out which wires in the cars are positive and negative. To do that, we'll take our factory speaker here and a PT9A Plus. This will create a popping sound, which is going to be moving the speaker either outward or inward. We want to know what it is moving outward. This is telling us it is doing it. If we meter it from the back side, we can see it's flipping, which is what it's supposed to do. There's a little microphone in the tip here. That is telling us on this side is positive, this side is negative. So the side with the little tiny capacitor in it is our negative side. We can plug in our speaker terminals here. There's two wires and we'll know the wire that is on this side is positive. On the passenger side, there is a green yellow, that is positive. On the driver's side, there is a gray yellow, and this is positive. Set your speaker magnet on a cloth. The solid black wire is positive from this speaker. The stripe wire is negative. Plug the two in, tuck your wire down in, put your first screw in, twist the speaker just a little bit, twist in your second screw. Give it a quick listen to make sure that you have audio. Do you have sound? We have sound. We'll come back to it at the end and give it a full listen to. Something to think about when working on one of these cars. If you turn the radio on with the speakers disconnected, you will get no audio because these need load resistance in order to turn on. So once you've pulled that speaker out, the load changes and you get no audio. If you connect wires while it's playing, you'll get no audio. So connect the speaker wires first before you test it. Don't turn it on and think you're gonna hook 2 wires up. For one, that's a dumb idea. But don't do it because you'll get no audio and you might think there's something wrong with the speakers. If you do that, turn the car off, let it sit for 5 minutes, connect the speaker wires and or plug the factory speakers back in, and the audio will resume. And there you go, guys. A nice simple upgrade to make your Dodge Chrysler vehicle just sizzle that little bit more. What do you think, Fernando?
Yeah.
If you'd like to take it one step further, they do make a package that comes with the 6x9 and the 3.5. I would strongly recommend doing that. The 6x9 is by far one of the best sounding, mildly priced 6x9s out there as far as upgrading these cars and making them sound good. And of course, a small amplifier would be a great idea as well. But that's a whole nother video, and it ain't happening in this car. So with that, Fernando, if you please.
On to the next one, guys.
You guys have a great day as always. We'll see you later next time.
Bye.
Bye.